Good morning to everyone out there, or perhaps it's afternoon. Regardless, hello to you all, and welcome to another drawing and talking video with me, Freebie Wits, your host. And today we're taking a look at two different characters. The first character, and she's going to be the focus, is Kagami Tadashi Tenshi. And let me just start this by saying she is quite possibly the most weeboo character I have ever drawn and or read. This isn't an insult, this is a fact. She is very, very much inspired by anime from what I can tell. She's literally described to have Sasuke's belt. Like that purple rope belt thing that you see in the anime, or manga I suppose if you read it. I haven't really checked in on Naruto for a long time, but I still know what Sasuke looks like. Now, normally I would read their history and everything to do with this character before starting on drawing them. However, when I was reading their description, something jumped out at me. Just how many weapons they simply have on them. And that's when inspiration struck. So, reading from the description, she has, let's have a look-see, twin daggers on her waist, twin katanas on her back, another katana on the back of her waist, a bunch of medical supplies, shurikens, and kunais on her leg. So, honestly, that is quite excessive in terms of weaponry, and my first thought is, let's put her through a security checkpoint. Now, security checkpoints are rather modern, however, in the description it does mention that she has genes, which I'm pretty sure existed around the same time when metal detectors and all those security checkpoints also existed. Seriously, I really love the whole trope of character with way too much weaponry going through a security checkpoint of some sort and having to give up all their weapons. That's pretty much where my thought process started and where it ended. Hence why you also have generic security guy number 22 standing off to the left over there with a box of all the weapons. Now, included in this character sheet is also another page where her brother's included. He's small, he's a little brother, not much else to say about him, he's got superpowers and a bunch of tails. So, on to my first question. Can you play this in a Dungeons & Dragons style game, or a tabletop RPG? And the answer is yes. Although the amount of weaponry she uses, or more specifically, the types of weaponry she uses, can be a bit redundant. Now, in a lot of tabletop RPG, different weapons can do different damage types. So having 3 different katanas, which presumably do slashing type damage, like I said, is a bit redundant. Now, of course, a character can be disarmed, the weapon can be lost, the weapon can be broken, depending on the system and your DM. So having backup weapons isn't necessarily a bad idea. I would suggest if you do play a role-playing game and you want to power game a tiny bit, to change one of those katanas for some sort of mace or a spear, something along those lines. Now, in LARP, having 3 main weapons, like 3 katanas, is very impractical. It's just really difficult to grab what you need when you need it. Usually having 1 main weapon is fine. Having a backup weapon is also good. It depends on your reach and how your play style goes. I mean, the more stuff that you strap to yourself, the more restrictive you'll be in terms of actual movement. Having a bunch of smaller weapons to hide away when you need them, when you're in close quarters combat, might be useful, I suppose. Having a bunch of shurikens and kunais to throw at people, also very useful. But having 3 main weapons is, I've done it myself. I've had a long sword, I've had a short sword, and I've had a little war pick. But they're all used for different reasons. The war pick I try to use for more siegey stuff, or roleplay siege works type stuff. Long sword for my main hand, short sword if I want to dual wield. But generally speaking, I do have my big shield on my left arm. Also, having tails in LARP, I would not really recommend it unless they're very short. Seriously, they're like capes in The Incredibles. No capes. You will get them caught in stuff, they will tear off, they will get caught in stuff. Like I said, it's just not a good idea in general. One thing I do approve of from Jason, the little brother, is the fact that he has a red scarf. I might be a bit biased, but I like red scarves. Seriously, look at my little avatar. Now, reading from the profile, they both have very special eyes and very special powers. Once again, very anime-esque in terms of how they're built. The fact that she also suppresses her emotions, has trouble expressing the good ones like happiness, also very anime-esque, but she has no problem expressing her anger. Now, a lot of people on the internet say weeaboo as if it's an insult, and I can see where they're coming from. I have role-played in person with people who get into it a bit much. The way I see it is if you're into something, that's fine. But if you start pushing it onto people who do not care for it or aren't really into it in the same level that you are into, it can get annoying. And I feel that there is a very large portion of the Venn diagram of people who are into this sort of thing and who are annoying just because they really, really want to connect with people. And not everyone wants to connect over this specific thing. And that's okay. You can still be friends with someone with different tastes, is what I'm trying to say. I've gone off course quite a bit here. Anyways, my point is, you can roleplay as this character in a tabletop setting quite easily, having a little brother in your backstory, unless you want to use them as like a sort of companion follower who carries all the stuff. I mean, yeah, it can work. In LARP, the amount of weapons can be a bit impractical and hard to carry around, but it is still technically possible, I suppose. Anyways, my name is Freebowitz. I hope you've enjoyed this drawing and talking video. Please like, comment, and subscribe. And of course, if you enjoy this content, you can also share it with all your other friends, but just don't push it on them if they're not into it. Anyways, until next time, everybody, bye-bye.